Hey guys, it's Mark Isaac Potter. I don't know what to say really. I'm just trying to. I'm gonna do a prob. I'm probably gonna do an episode of Boring Office, which means I just sit here and talk to you about all the clerical stuff I got to do today in my TV production business. I got to send out a schedule for next week. Who's being taped? And I've been trying to find the last email I used. Are you fucking serious? What the hell? Hey,
You.
hey, young man, how are you?
Oh, I'm okay. I'm very stiff and tired of it. Just been working so.
Oh, well, I
Other,
understand.
other than that,
I'm totally exhausted as well. Spent most of the day in bed, so
okay.
yeah, yeah.
I should try that one day.
Well,
So
it
it's going to be good
it's
for
good.
me.
It's good and bad. It can get
Yeah,
to be
I know.
habit forming, but yeah. So, how are you today? What's happening?
Oh, hey, yeah, that was really fun the other night.
It wasn't it though? It's friggin' hilarious. Are you kidding?
Yeah, yeah.
We had a great time. I and my
I haven't
my
laughed so hard since humanity went extinct. You know.
I'm still
Uh,
oh god, I'm still surprised at my comment. I haven't laughed so hard since Kennedy was assassinated. But that's talk about dark.
Yeah, I know, but you're so good at this. You're my favorite of your dark comments was once was I don't feel suicidal. I wish I did, but I don't. Which is a funny line. It should go into something.
Yeah,
If
maybe.
not,
Yeah.
lend it to me and I'll throw it in some
Oh
stories
Lord.
or something.
Or something.
So yeah,
Yeah. Oh man. I sometimes want to tell everybody what I'm doing and all that, but number one, everybody's so tired and they're all so goddamn busy and it doesn't do anything for them. It's just me,
well that's okay.
vomiting out my successes and failures.
Yeah,
So
what are friends for, dude? That's what
I have never figured that out actually.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah. Well,
I thought they were
me
for
neither. But I,
signing up in. I thought they were for signing up in Amway. Is what I thought. You know.
yeah. I have lost.
I mean, certainly, if you were in my downline, you'd be making 5%, and if you had people below you,
Yeah,
you'd be
yeah.
making. Anyway,
Eventually, the people below and below and below would be absolute slaves. You could really feel that you weren't one of them.
we
Even
don't
in
use the
any
word
thing,
slaves around here, Peter.
we pronounce it Slav now.
We use in
Yeah.
slobs or salve. We sell a nice salve that you can.
Oh, funny.
Oh
It's
God.
okay. You can tell me that stuff. So,
Okay, well, let me see what's the most important thing I want to share.
okay.
Number and thank you for your everything. Number one, over the last 18 months, I have done a well. I have. Let me put it this way: on my Mark Isaac Potter Presents channel now, I have about 300 videos.
Wow.
Some of those, I would say, more than half are things I actually created. And then about a third or so are things I imported from the YouTube channel over at KMPT 15. So I figured out a way to download all that stuff, and now I'm republishing it on my channel because they don't go out and post it on social media, and I do. So
Right. Yeah.
there's that. We did 8 shows yesterday.
Holy no. You did 8
Hey,
shows?
I'm
Wow.
I want to say something like, "Have I ever lied to you?" But then I can't figure out what the funny line is that goes with it, so I'm not going to bother.
Yeah, yeah.
uh, yeah, yeah, and anyway, so yeah, I just whatever. I just it's fun. What I'm doing is a lot more fun than I let on. I've been trying to learn about
I like that.
how to be like a person, you know, who's involved in a business. And one of the
Mm-hmm.
best pieces of advice I've seen from several sources I admire is just shut up. Don't talk about it. You know, just do
Wow.
what you do and let the results speak for themselves. And
Hold
it's
on just
yeah.
a sec, Mark. I have an important transaction here.
What'd you say?
I'm talking to a friend. So, can I get
Oh.
this is like the living house or something? Just and I had closed
You
out,
got
so I'll just get the card again, or I'll come in and do it. Okay. This is how
okay.
important you are. I had no another beer.
So you're saying you want the pork roast or you want the French fries?
No, I want a 10 ounce of this the beer I'm drinking. So I wasn't gonna have 2 beers. So
Oh, geez. Okay.
like one
So
and a half. Well,
yeah.
actually, I was gonna go to a movie, but it was sold out. So
Huh.
I just came over here
Huh.
at my place, and I have a bookmark, by the way. I know what you're talking about back there. But I was just writing a friend, and one of the things I like about this house, I came in here, bartender came over and said, "Hey, Peter, how are you doing? What do you want?" And then I'm out sitting here, and the owner comes by and goes, "Hey, Peter, how are you doing today?" And she just stops by and goes, "You good? You want more?" It's just, I like living in a small town.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful thing. Yes.
So
Yeah.
anyway, you were talking about.
Well, I will get back to that, but I was going to say, like what you're doing, even though I live in a bigger town, I was over at IHOP the other day and the waitress came by and said, your pants look too big. I was like, wow, thanks. Thanks. It's nice to have that small town feel. She says, no. She said, no, I'm not going to give you a small town feel. I'm married. So what was I saying to you?
The waitress who I know just came over and she said, "You can pay me later." So that's Angela. She's funny.
Yeah.
So
I'm just having fun with doing shows and trying to figure out. I hope, even though I'm pretty old now and probably will croak in the next few years.
You are?
Well, at some point, I wish I could break that final nut of not knowing how to make money. And I don't want to make a lot. Honest to God, I think it would be terrible because it just comes with so many problems. But an extra $300 to $500 a month, that's the real profit. Would make my life look a lot different. I mean, I could eat more healthy food. I could afford. I mean, I would. Tell me to shut up when you want me to. I can. I am now doing this thing, and I'm not telling you this to worry. I just want to get.
Okay.
I want to get some people's input because I think it's a smart thing to do, but it doesn't sound smart. I couldn't afford my meds. Did I tell you all this already the other day?
No, you haven't told me this at all.
Okay.
You haven't actually talked about yourself all that much. So recently. So
really?
So.
That's surprising.
Well,
that's because last time we talked, Tiny Tim was giving me a blowjob while we talked, and I couldn't concentrate.
Oh yeah, well you didn't talk about that though either.
Well, she's not that cute for one thing.
Yeah, usually on those things, someone wants a blow by blow.
Yeah. Well, and Tiny Tim has always wanted to be a woman who thought she was a raccoon. So
anyway, get back to what you were talking about, Porter.
Oh yeah. So I had this bit, I have an ongoing bill, $105, $110 a month for meds.
Right.
A few months ago, I just had it with all this crap. I called Amazon. I said, okay, we're going to get rid of half of this. And I just went through with them, not with the doctor, and said, okay, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. And I cut it in half. I cut it down to $58. Then, when my meds came in, a dear friend of mine misplaced one of the bags of meds. So I didn't have meds to take for about 3 weeks. So I had to figure out how to go through those 3 weeks without any meds.
Uh-huh.
And I figured it out. I found some previous meds and all kinds of stuff, but it got me to a point where I said, I could probably take my meds every other day and still get by.
Uh-huh.
And then it
I,
would cost, I could every third or fourth month, I could call them and say, just pause everything for a month.
yeah.
So now I'm experimenting with that. And,
Okay.
but
I
it's,
think you give the same thing. So I went,
and
wow.
I think so too. I mean, all the medical people that I've talked to say, oh God, you not only have to take them every day, but you have to take them at the same time every day. And I'm like, well, probably not. It's just like Coca-Cola saying you can't get through the day without
Right, right,
snorting some Coke or whatever.
right. Pissing in an empty Coke bottle and then
Yeah,
giving that to a
right.
friend.
Yes, and then giving that to a friend as a Christmas gift. Yeah,
Right.
or
You
saying to
can't
your
get by
friend,
without this.
or using it as a political statement because you can say, you could use it as a political statement because you could say, America, you're a nation.
Right. And
Anyway,
that went coming. So,
yeah. Did
okay.
you did you
Yeah.
see my email that said the most something 30 books of the last 30 years or something that I sent?
No, I don't think so. But that doesn't mean it's not in there somewhere.
Well, I may have not sent it, but I thought I did. It
Okay.
was
If I'm
like,
just
and I
out,
think it was the nonfiction books.
okay. If I'm just out with my phone like I am right now and I haven't looked much at my email on my phone's
And
impossible.
yeah, well, and we all
It's
get
like it
so
throws
much email
every
that, yeah,
it throws
no wonder
everything
none
in
of us
one
can find
folder.
anything. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to start using a word like I'll put that baboon fart as the search term.
Just send a pigeon, a courier pigeon. I think those would work better.
Either
Even those, eventually you'll get about 187 courier pigeons a day. They'll
either
be asking
either
for a
that or
message.
maybe some birds. Maybe some birds would do it too.
Go ahead and cut it out. Well, anyway, send me a message via bat about that.
Yes.
So, for flying
Yeah. Is that a
moths, moth
baseball bat
messengers.
or yeah?
Each moth shows up and has a letter on its left wing. And you have to count all these moths, and then you have to scramble the letters.
Right. Right.
You know,
Exactly.
and forget it. That's moth mail for you.
I
So
can't believe how much fun we had the other night. It was unique somehow, even among our 40-year-old friendship. It was a unique thing. So, and I
we
I
used to do
I
that.
I kind of stepped out of my body a little bit because I was laughing so long and so hard. I
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
laughed. This sounds weird, but I haven't laughed that hard, and this is true. It's not a joke. I haven't laughed that hard since the last time I cheated on my wife. I went to this conference and I was cheating on her with this lady, and we had just had this great, what do you call it? And then I started laughing just the relief that I finally gotten laid because
Yeah.
she didn't like to. She thought sex was outside of marriage. I
I
guess.
knew so. You were in a weird way being faithful to her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah. That's the new. That's the new. Somebody other's dictionary definition of circumlocution. I think.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This conversation goes a little farther. I'm going to have to
Mm,
try and get a table farther from other people.
right, right.
And I'm not safe ones.
When you said get a
I know.
table, are you talking about dating
No, no,
non-living
no.
items, or? I mean,
No,
I've
no.
heard of bestiality, but I haven't heard of having sex with a table.
No,
That's
I read Poorhouse. sitting outside. I should take a picture of this place and send it to you.
You have probably already did.
Yeah, I probably did.
I think it
love
was the one that said Sam Quentin on the front. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's really, there's a little bay there with like a sailboat coming in. And some other sailboats anchored. It's cloudy, but the sun's coming through the clouds. And there's about 40 picnic tables out here.
That many?
It's big. It's a big place.
I was going to say, I've always envisioned it as a small place. We've got a place in San Jose that's called the Poorhouse. Honest to God, a restaurant. And it's got maybe 3 tables outside total. And so I always thought of it like that, you know.
I just kind of counted them. So it's like 25.
Oh, God.
Something like that. No,
what do you, besides a beer, do you ever eat there? And if so, what do you have?
No, they don't have food except you get like peanuts.
Oh, okay.
So I just got a sandwich today. I was actually going to go to a movie by myself.
Yeah.
And the movie was sold out. So I already had the sandwich. I was going to sneak into the movie. There's only one other option. I live in a small town.
Well, where'd you get the sandwich?
At this cute little store called Aldrich's Market. It's the oldest store in town. It's in uptown. And when I went in there too, Teresa said, "Hi, darling."
Oh, so, golly! How many years y'all been there in whatchamacallit?
7, 8, something like that.
Oh, that's neat.
So I've been here for a while. I used to live in uptown, which is basically it's a dinky town. There's a little There's a street down by the water called. Ready for this?
Water Street. Water Street. I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah.
Water Street.
I want you to know that we're cognizant and we're preparing for sea level rise here, so they're already considering changing it to Underwater Street. So, and then there's a bluff, and up that bluff is another bit of town, and that's called Uptown.
Wow.
And so that's kind of it. And then there's some other kind of areas scattered around, but there's only 10,000 people here.
Yeah.
Like 9,800.
Well, yeah, and that's yeah. What movie were you choosing to go see?
I was going to see, Mark, a movie called The Friend with Naomi Watts, who I have a secret crush on, and who also shows my birthday, 28th of September.
I'll be darned. The Friend. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. It's and it's so Bill Murray is this friend of her who dies and gives her the thing she wants least in the world, which is his Great Dane. And she lives in New York. She has to deal with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like her, and I really like. She's a good actress. I like her. I've liked her since she kind of made her
debut.
David Lynch, Mulholland Drive.
Oh, yeah. What's her name again?
Oh, I had it once. Come on. So,
no, I'm trying, but I get her. I've heard of her. I just I watch a show. I listen to a lot of TV related news, and I watch a show in which Nev Campbell decided to leave the show after a couple seasons, and I thought my brain thought maybe you said that instead. So
yeah. God, I haven't even thought of Nev Campbell in a long time.
Well, and the thing I like about Naomi Watts is she's so electric.
Yeah, I get amped up every time I see it.
And they're off. Here it goes.
And Naomi, I like the best when she played Electra. So,
yes, and Buick. Yeah.
A great role for her Watts.
Boy.
So,
like that time Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Roosevelt. Oh God, whatever.
To the country, yeah.
Oh boy, there's rumors that his wife was, thankfully and happily, a lesbian. Seriously, Eleanor.
Yeah.
Because they were distant cousins anyway.
Yes.
Her name was Roosevelt before she married him. So.
That makes life so much easier. That's why I want to actually find Naomi Watts and marry her. Because
Yes.
I'll never forget your birthday. My
Yes.
birthday, wouldn't that be great?
Peter Watts has a nice ring to it.
I don't know. Sounds kind of strict. But no.
Oh boy.
So anyway, I should tell you so you know. But first of all, I'm fine with it. So don't feel like you have to say "aw" or something. Since the Thursday night, that was I think that's the one I called you. I think it was Thursday. So basically, Cassie and I are splitting up.
Oh,
Now,
like more officially than usual, or
yeah, way more officially than usual. So
okay, is one of you going to move off the property, or?
well, both of us. Well, I have a secret plan, which is the cheap
Ah,
property.
I can see the Batmobile driving
Yeah.
through the woods into the Bat Cave right now.
Well, I woke up a couple days ago.
Really, I
And
can't imagine.
Yeah,
I
it's been a
haven't.
week ever since. And yeah, Buddha contacted me about it. He's like, nice move, dude.
Yeah,
So
I think he
I
lost
also
his
woke up
SIM card, so that was it.
a
Yeah.
couple days ago.
Okay.
And I thought, I have this renter leaving Rosie the trailer that we rent out in 16th, I think. So I told Cassie, I said, when he leaves, I don't want to rent the trailer because we're going to sell the place. I'm moving into the trailer.
Okay.
So just to have more separation because I'm downstairs right now. She's upstairs. It's weird. Cassie's dealing with things. The way that she deals with stuff, which is sitting in bed all day and drinking.
Yeah. So, no, I hear you.
So. So anyway.
Can you write from the trailer? Is it big enough?
Oh yeah. I like the trailer. It's cute.
Well, I haven't envisioned.
Yeah, it's got Wi-Fi.
Okay.
It's this cute vintage 1955 trailer that's all like wood paneled inside.
Okay.
And it's got this dinky ass little shower, but
Yeah.
Clean in it, and it's got an outhouse basically, which is
nice.
How much of the day do you spend doing that?
Well, yeah. We used to have a chemical toilet after we upgraded from a real outhouse. We got a chemical toilet at our place. I suspect that's what you've got over there.
Yeah, then this is a composting toilet, which basically it's a trash can.
Yeah. Okay.
You poop in it and throw a bunch of wood chips.
That's so nice. That's so delightful.
It works.
Of all the tomato salads I've ever had, none of them had an octopus in it.
Anyhow, then I thought, okay, so if we, sell the place, mind you, although I actually have to buy a ticket to do this, I'll try to win the lottery before we sell it, and I'll just buy it.
Well, and you and I have a deal. Seriously, I'm going to be rarely serious here. Yeah, you already know the deal. I don't have to restate it, I suppose.
Yeah, so let me know if you win.
$5 million to each of whoever, if there is that much. I mean, if it's 4.6 million, I don't want to give you.
I think it's never that low anymore, isn't it? It's usually like $500 million now.
Well, and somewhere, and I don't know whether it's only California or where, they raised the price of one of the many, because now we have a long panoply of lottery games here. One of the games is now $5 a ticket. And I think that's going to damage it. I think they're thinking it's going to make it bigger, but I think it's going to slow everything down,
It'll make it bigger, but you'll still have one chance in 8 quadrillion.
Yeah.
So
quadra gazillion trillion billion willion.
Yeah. However many stars there are in the universe, your chances are less than that. Mm-hmm. So, and anyway, yeah.
Speaking of the universe, they apparently, I don't send you all the stuff I'd like to, but they apparently made a picture. What's the newest one? What's it called? The Webb? No. Yeah, the James Webb telescope.
Yeah, the James Webb, yeah.
took a picture of the beginning of the universe
Oh,
for real. Like
is this just new?
this is like yesterday.
Oh, cool. Look
Yeah,
now.
yeah. I think it was pretty neat, and it just I can't imagine. Anyway,
Yeah.
I
I think
care
I've seen
about
that
you,
picture,
bro.
though. It's mom and Willie and Josephine, and they're on the beach. But
Yeah.
Dad can't make it yet.
Hmm.
And that's the beginning of the universe, Mark.
Yes. And
It
he's
gets
still at
worse,
the
actually.
beginning of the universe because his Lyft driver never showed up.
That's correct. The beginning of the universe, a lot of things hadn't connected yet. They didn't quite work.
Yes.
Internet was spotty.
Yep. Oh, by the way, and I blah 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 blah. Kawasaki now has a robot that looks a little bit like a motorcycle, and I think it can come with either legs or wheels, and it's hydrogen powered.
Cool.
Why do I do this? I mean, he's so
Wait
much
a
fun
second.
at
What small? I
parties.
mean, fuel cells have been. They must have a pretty small. See, I wanted to do when we were thinking of staying in the house. In fact, I was going to talk to a neighbor on Tuesday who's because he's as nutty as me, and I thought he would entertain the idea of building uh, um, now what do they call power cell
Yeah.
plant for the neighborhood.
Okay.
There's about 7 or 8 neighbors where I live, all
Yeah.
spread apart.
Okay.
You can generate that kind of power because I looked it up. And it costs much, but then I looked at it and went, build this. And,
Yeah.
you have to have people that can build like tanks that can hold hydrogen and stuff. And you can do it.
Right.
It costs tens of thousands of dollars. So they said it probably just cost $10,000.
Yeah.
And if you had like 8 or 9 neighbors that wanted to pay it, you can put out, it's crazy. You can put out 20 kilowatts of power.
No, that would be very cool. You might put that in your. I'm imagining you'll have to create some quote unquote discovery documents for the next buyer.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, we're selling the property, so that's not going to happen. But
No, I'm saying the next buyer of the property.
Yeah, but that's going to happen in like a month.
You're going to sell the property in a month?
Yeah, probably.
How can you sell it that fast?
Well, no, let me put it this way. We probably put it on the market in a month.
Okay, that makes more sense because
there's not much property for sale up here, though.
Okay, so you have a real chance of somebody actually buying it.
We do have a chance. I need it to sell for like $800,000, so it's kind of not worth it to me.
Yeah.
Because if that happens, I walk away with about $125,000, which
is something, but not much. No, because you said she's worth more than.
She's got about pushing 600,000.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't. Cassie's not gonna be bad about this stuff. In fact, she said one night, she said, I'd like you to get more than half from the house, but whether that actually happens, not that way.
No, that's so true. A lot of people say a lot of things.
Yeah, but just give me a cushion.
Yeah.
Would
you if that happens, would you eventually have to go back to work, you think, or what?
Well, it depends.
Because you may live another 20 years, and
yeah, it's like planning on that. If Doge doesn't get rid of Social Security, I'm kind of okay there. I get $2,400 a month.
Yeah.
Or something, which is not very much money anymore.
Well, and inflation will reduce it every year.
Yeah, but it's also gone up some.
Yeah.
But anyway, my secret plan is that if I'm in Rosie already, the trailer, then the new owners come in and they go, why don't you just keep renting it to me?
Oh, there you go. Nice. Sweet. See, I didn't see that.
Since I know this property, like,
the back of your left butt cheek.
Why don't you do work trade with me?
There you go.
for
Oh,
at
that's
least
beautiful.
half of the rent.
All right. Yeah, I like that idea because that'll stretch
Yeah,
your money.
which I would actually love because I just, I was out. I'm tired today from working, but I was out getting some soil ready and planting peas and stuff. And I like that stuff.
Yeah,
Really,
just having
and
the whole responsibility of yourself is kind of
yeah,
overwhelming.
yeah, that will make me
You
die
guys
before
have,
20
what'd you
years.
say, 3 or 4 acres, 8 acres?
No, that's just 2 acres. But
Two
boy,
acres.
step out on 2 acres and try to take care of it sometimes. Holy shit!
Yeah, wow. Okay.
It doesn't sound like much.
Yeah. Well, no. We at our place we had 2/3 of 1 acre.
Yeah,
That was
that'd be a
it.
lot.
So
Yeah,
uh, anyway.
yeah, yeah. We have these things up here. Well, we have this thing called rain. As a result of that, we have these things called weeds, and they grow better than you would want to grow. If you actually wanted to be successful, you would actually just be a weed farmer. And then you could call that success.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they're hard to eat, both of them, and you can eat dandelions.
Yeah.
So I was gonna sit down near the water, but this good breeze is blowing up. It's kind of cold.
Huh.
And anyway, that's my secret plan. Who knows?
Yeah.
Cassie
Well,
keeps
yeah.
saying, actually, she said something funny today. She's not like dead drunk a lot, but she's drinking a little by little all day.
Yeah.
So she's not exactly there either.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to say anything bad about Cassie, but she is really a one of a kind person to me. I mean,
Good in a good way or a bad way?
well, I wouldn't call it good, but it's, to each their own. I mean, she can actually lie in bed like this for days and
Okay.
drinking and watching like old reruns of Little House on the Prairie. Not making this up.
No, no. Yeah. There's things I can say and there's things I can't say. But yes, I have a friend like that who watches the same thing over and over and doesn't even know she's doing it. So
Yeah, I mean that's it. There's
yeah,
some shows I think she's watched 12 times.
yeah, no, no, it's yeah,
Yeah, the part
yeah,
of me thinks I'm kind of dodging a little bit of a bullet here. As bad as
yeah.
my brain is, I'm just. But anyway,
We'll see. Yeah.
I wish her the best. She's been talking about going down because she loves the self-realization fellowship stuff, Yogananda
Oh, okay.
stuff, I'm great with that. I don't care for it very much, but
Well, and it may help her
yes,
if she gets deeply enough involved. It may come to a point where she goes, I'd rather do this than drink.
well, that's what I'm hoping. You
Yeah.
know,
Is
like
that in Southern California somewhere, or where do they have their main?
that's what she's thinking of it. She's thinking of
Yeah.
heading down there. But she said something today about because we have this new renter in the dome
Right.
house who's good at gardening and stuff like that. And she
Mm.
said, well, maybe what's her name? Cynthia could be the one to help out. And I said, maybe,
Mm.
she said, if I leave early. I
Mm.
said, are you thinking of leaving before the house is sold?
Yeah.
Which, bear in mind, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Because when she's there, I'm doing all the work anyway.
But
So
I mean, if she's contributing half the mortgage, then
oh no, she'll keep paying that.
okay.
I'm sure she'll keep. In fact, she's paying the whole mortgage now, and I'm just throwing $2,000 into the budget.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well,
And stuff, and she
yeah.
seems, she seems fine with that. So anyway, I don't know what she wants. Frankly, when you're in these weird periods in a relationship, it would be better if how about now? How about yesterday? Could you leave yesterday? So,
Yeah, nobody on some level, nobody really even knows what they want. Sometimes they just say what they think their person they're having the conversation with wants to hear.
yeah, it's yeah, it's funny. I don't think she believes me, but you would believe me. She's like, "What do you want to do?" And I say, "I'm doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm writing again. I'm 190 pages into a novel I love. And can't see it. don't like my writing, so that's okay. But I do. And
Imagine that, a writer who likes their writing.
I have some friends that play guitar and stuff with.
Yeah.
I get to garden.
Yeah.
And I could probably, might get a little more involved with this community and trying to do stuff around.
Well, having said all that,
So
I think
I'm
your
doing
plan
it.
of living in the Rosie trailer while somebody else owns a property is a solid plan.
I like it.
Yeah.
It would depend totally on who buys the place, whether they even want renters there.
Well,
not,
yeah.
but-
Most people are happy to have a little extra money, so.
But I also thought it could be a selling point because if people do come in and they're like, I don't know about these composting toilets. I don't know about this. And I can say, tell you what, just keep me on.
Yeah. Good
I
idea.
know how to handle all this stuff.
Very good. Well, one guy that came over to buy your place had a stack of 3x5 cards with questions on it. And the first one was, "What's a tree?" So
Yeah.
I kind of worried about him. His wallet was thick, but his brain was, well, in a manner of speaking, thick. Yeah.
Where we've been through thick and thin.
Yes.
And it's really thick. So.
Yes. That's part of my speech at the bulimia conference. Yeah.
I tried to get a joke about throwing up in there, but I can't.
Yeah.
I just couldn't think of
Try to get a joke to throw up in there. Yeah. Boy, some of your stuff reminds me of a toilet.
Anyway, that's what's going on. I wanted to just let you know. So.
Okay, well, I need to let you know something. Are you thinking of wrapping up this conversation? Is that what you're
I'm
doing?
done.
All right,
no,
so
no, I'm done. I'm done with my part. I don't want to talk anymore about that. So,
shoot, bro. I think that shooting bro is a bad idea. Yeah.
What you used to say, you used to answer the phone, you were like, Bob, bar, pool house, shoot.
Oh, yeah. How did that go? Let's see.
See, I can't remember.
No. It was, it was something close to, Marc's pool house shoot. Yeah, it was something close to that. Yeah. Well, those were the days. Anyway, yeah, I've got a long night ahead. I usually sleep during the day and work at night, so I'm gonna be just very. I have these nice periods where I slow down and kind of enjoy everything instead of feel like, oh, when am I gonna make my sale? That kind of shit. So tonight's one of those nights where I'm just gonna slow down. I gotta write the taping. I gotta write the taping. A lot of noise on your end.
I had to put on speaker for a second because it got. The weather here changes every 10 minutes. It got cold, so I had to zip up my fleece I'm wearing. Anyway.
Oh, I thought you said you had to set the speaker on sex, and I said, boy, I wish I knew my phone speaker had a setting called sex.
No, they don't do it after 71.
Darn.
I've only got about 6 more months. So.
Yeah, so I have to do I have to make the taping schedule for next week. I usually send that out once a week. I've got I did all the 8 shows yesterday. I put them, into YouTube. So the shows from today, which is probably 2 or 3 already, I have to process those and get them over to YouTube. I did a show this morning with a lovely man who knows a lot about neurodivergence.
Oh, cool. You were telling me you were going to do that. And I said I was interested in that one. So.
Yeah, he knows a lot about it. Him and his wife have a 23-year-old neurodivergent son. But he also does coaching and maybe therapizing with other
Motivational activities.
other neuroperversion. I mean, what was the word again?
Neuroperverse people.
Diversely perversive people. Perverse, yeah, that.
Yeah, and liverwurst.
Yeah, yeah. Plus, horse penises.
And
uh,
would anyone else actually find this funny?
I doubt it. I doubt it very much. But
I just see psychiatrists taking notes.
yeah, but for every horse penis, there's at least one strawberry Slurpee in Australia waiting to live in a telephone booth.
I think that's true.
Yes, I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah. Raccoon start back to an early thing on boats trying to get there.
Yes, it was a very tall raccoon that took that picture of the beginning of the universe. Yeah. Oh boy. He was so tall his friends called him LeBron.
Hey, I want to see that show, okay?
What show?
With the neuroperverse guy.
Okay, okay. Well, just I do. So please do. I do blank blank blank. So please do remind me if you would.
Okay. What's the best way to remind you? Like
an email. No, an email. His first name is Rob, and his last name is Ralston. Like Ralston Purina.
Right. Yeah.
Which is now, of course, Purina, just like Sears and Roebuck is now totally defunct. Totally gone. No Sears, no Roebuck.
Right.
Oh, the world. Yeah, he's a nice guy. He has a funny way of speaking, but yeah, he's precious, and I hope to do more shows with him. And, yeah. So, yeah.
No, I like to see it. Yeah, we talked about neurodivergence the other night, and I think those neurodivergent people, Mark, they have a lot of nerves.
Well, they actually have one nerve, but then it goes down. Yes, it separates. It lifts and separates.
Isn't that sad?
Yeah, it's very sad because personally, I would like them to lift and separate as often as possible.
Okay. Here's how sad this is. I know what that's from. It's from the Maiden Form bra.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody until that copyright, remember that line, cared whether their tits were lifted and separated.
Yes.
They didn't.
Well, and one of the Maiden Form bras, they made different ones that were for different people, and they made one Maiden Form bra that was called LSMFT. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
Yeah. No, it means Lucky Strikes means fun.
But you had to when you took it off, you had to put it on a Victrola, not on the doorknob.
It was Lucky Strikes means floppy tits. And after the lift and separate.
Now you ruined it. The image in my mind. There's a boy.
Because they came out with the later bra for older women called Drop and Coagulate.
Drop and Coagulate?
Oh yeah. For the later group, you can tell there's not many people sitting there being out. They've all gone.
Yes. They have to go home and put on their later hosen.
Yeah.
Because you can't water the yard unless you're wearing your later hosen.
It's too late for the early hosen. Yeah. No, they're wearing the later hosen.
Yes.
So.
We're not mid-sentence. We're mid-hosen.
Yeah. I got to talk with them. The Canadian French woman the other night was fun because they had a call because they had a super date set up with Cassie to make up for her birthday.
Okay.
I told you about it. I was going to take her to the symphony, and I guess we're actually going to go together tomorrow to the symphony, but we are not going to the Fairmount after.
Oh yeah. I don't doubt it. Yeah.
So I called to cancel.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the point? If you're going to take someone to Fairmont, you really want to get laid, and that wasn't going to happen. So
Yeah.
I have to save them for that while I'm still young. And so this woman, she had such a French accent, and they went, "Vous êtes française?"
Oh.
Canadian. And she went, "Oh, Canadian." Which I can follow about every fourth word, But it was just fun to talk to her. And then I
Yeah.
switched back to English, and we got my cancellation done. And she asked me, "Could I hold for a while?" And I was like, well, pas de problème, bien sûr. So it was kind of fun. And then she goes, "Bonne soirée,"
Oh.
which is good evening.
Yeah. Very nice. Very beautiful.
Yeah, that was kind of fun. They have a weird accent.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
they were separated from the, I think in I don't know, 1700 French, and then the two things that were once one language diverted.
Yeah.
Lingually
divergent.
Yes. They were. Yeah.
Anyway, that was fun. So
yeah. Well, good. Yeah. Very
now
nice.
I'm back to having my three stays at Fairmont for my next hot day. So.
Oh, good. Very nice. So that'll be impressive for some.
Yeah. Well, I want to go. If it's even by myself, you have to look this place up. And of course, now I can't remember the fucking name of it. It's up in Canada. It's in Banff. I can't think of it. I'll send you a picture. And I've always wanted to go there and stay in this Fairmont. It's up in the mountains.
Huh. Okay.
Eastern BC. It's a lake.
Okay. No, that sounds lovely.
Lake. Yeah. It's just. And you go to these places and people treat you because they don't know, Yeah. They don't know I'm involved in it, never died to my name. So.
I'm glad there's still places that do that, because I read all this stuff about how, places that help tourists or have guests come in, or it's a complex thing of they hate the fuck their job, but they do it and try to pretend to be nice. And maybe there's some places where they actually still care. I don't know. If there were, Canada would probably be one of those places, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, I can't vouch for whether they care or not, but they sure can act it.
Yeah.
So.
That what's his name guy in Canada won the primary, I guess, or the prime ministership. He got appointed or something, and then he called a special election to kind of either have the people decide if they really wanted him, and he did win it. So, as Trudeau got out of the business.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah.
Which was a good move on his
part. Well, him and his dad, between the two of them, they were Canada for a long time.
Dynasty. They were sort of the Kennedy dynasty.
Well, yeah, or the Brown of California governorship,
Yeah, actually more like that.
Either way, so yeah.
Yeah, but Trump did such. My brother wrote me. He says Trump did us such a favor. The conservatives were an easy in.
Yeah.
Wow. And now no one wants to vote for anyone that's like a maggot. So
like a maggot, yeah.
And so
pretty much all maggots.
The liberals got it because of Trump. I mean, geez, it was a pretty good move.
But frankly, I think honestly, and I'm glad we're mentioning this, I honestly think the Democrats are going to squander the chance to elect somebody decent in 28.
Oh, I think so too.
I just think they're going to fuck it up somehow. I watch a lot of podcasts, but Katie Couric has one or two podcasts, and she and this guy went through the last 8 or 9 months of the Biden administration. The stuff that happened there, you wouldn't believe. It was almost like Nixon-esque.
Yeah.
The crap that Biden did and the resentments he held and the way they messed it up. so just repeatedly, he is just, I don't have any hope in the, I mean, I'll
Yeah,
probably vote for the Democrat, whoever it is, whether it's, whoever, but
yeah.
Judge or AOC or
I
it's,
mean, the
it's,
guy
yeah, go ahead.
that I like best right now is David Hogg of the DNC because the DNC controls everything.
But
I mean,
he, you don't think he'll run for president now, do you?
no. No, but he swore he's gonna primary Democrats who don't, who aren't fighting.
Well, and I
And the
liked that.
Democrats hates him.
I saw him saying that in an interview, and I liked it because, number one, he's very pleasantly pissing off other people in the Democratic leadership,
Yes. Yeah.
and I like
He's,
that because that's one of the things they need.
oh,
And it was obvious
absolutely.
that it wasn't just they weren't just making it up. He really is upsetting these other
Yeah.
blankety blanks.
Yeah.
So
And he is.
good for him. But he's a
Yeah.
pretty young kid already still. But at least he came out of one of the shootings. I think one of the
Yes, I
Florida
know.
shootings.
Yeah. 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 No,
Right.
I know, and he's really been.
Yeah,
I like him a bunch.
yeah, he's a cool kid.
And it's just the Democrats to me are the other oligarch party,
Yeah, they're
and
just well. Then there's so much corporate. They
we
don't
either
admit it. They pretend like they're not corporate, but those fuckers are as
oh they
corporate
are
as it comes.
they're either the other
Yeah,
oligarch or the
yeah,
other
yeah, yeah,
corporate party, whatever you want,
yep,
you know. And I think I think it's showing up in the people who are pissed off at Trump.
yeah,
Now Republicans are pissed off at him, going that I mean, it's pretty stupid for them to say this is what we voted for because he's going to be doing what he said he was going to do.
yeah,
But it's fairly not really what they wanted.
yeah.
So all this ridiculousness, and so I actually think you really could do a third party in America now. So
Well, we've been friends a long time. I kind of disagree. We could almost. I mean, what's his name? What was his name? Ross or something? Got like
yeah, no,
17%, and that's the most anybody's ever gotten. You,
yeah. I mean, it would take an exodus of a bunch of top Democrats. But
yeah,
I like what Bernie and AOL are doing.
yeah. No, it's
You
helping.
know,
Even if they don't, even if neither one of them win some higher office, it still helps that somebody's saying something.
yeah,
We're not
yeah,
just inexplicably going down the black hole of death.
yeah, yeah.
So,
No, I mean, if this country ever figures out that it's not racism, it's not misogyny, it's not all these things that everybody thinks it's classism,
yeah.
then,
And that's what
then
Bernie's been saying for,
a long
what,
time.
40, 50 years.
Yeah, yeah. Then you can almost have a country.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to take longer, though. America's going to have to
Yeah,
reshape itself, and it's going to have to mourn the fact that it isn't anything like what it used to be. It's just now one of the countries, and then maybe become something a couple of generations down the road.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it never was a very good country unless you were middle class and white, anyway. And
No,
middle
but
class,
everybody thought it was a hot shit on a stick.
yeah, we had good PR.
So,
But yeah,
yeah,
whenever
yeah.
one of the things I liked that I was like not on social media and all that was when people finally started saying, "Hey, normal is what got us here.
Huh.
We're
Okay.
we're not looking at getting back to normal."
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you look at this country, we actually had a middle class from sometime after the Second World War, because basically all his GIs came back.
Right. Right.
They were all horny and wanted to start families and stuff.
Right.
Maybe they didn't want to start families, but they wanted to do an activity that would lead to starting families.
Yeah.
And they needed
Which, of course, is
jobs.
brushing your teeth.
Yes.
Yes.
It starts with that often.
Yes.
And they needed jobs and they needed housing and all this.
Yeah.
And and we were coming off of FDR with all these new social programs,
Right.
and we actually had a middle class till about when OPEC came out and changed the pricing on petroleum, which our entire society was based on.
It's like that was like 73, wouldn't you think, or what?
Yeah, yeah. And
Okay.
then everything started little by little. That's when the first credit cards came out to run on debt.
Yeah.
And then we haven't, from kind of my reckoning, historical reckoning, we haven't actually had a middle class since then. All we've had is a dwindling, descending middle class that keeps like trying to call itself middle class.
Yeah.
I mean, we were middle class because my dad was an engineer,
Okay.
and we lived in this house in the hills above San Mateo when he was really doing pretty well. That cost $30,000. He probably made, I don't know, 20 something $1,000.
Yeah.
So almost the amount of the mortgage. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that hasn't been true since the 80s.
No, it's yeah, it's so way, and it's gotten worse and worse.
Yeah. I mean, now
Yeah.
people are making $50,000 and their mortgage is $679,000.
Yeah, or they're making 60,000 and their mortgage is 7.2 million per month.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, there's a lot of change. But there's other countries in the world that I look to, like, I don't know, Luxembourg, Sweden,
yeah,
uh
the North
that that
countries are
that
really
we
good.
could become a country like that, like
Yeah.
a small to
Norway,
medium sized
Sweden.
country that has good values
Yeah.
eventually. That's what I think we ought to become. And China, you don't even want to know everything I know about China. I almost feel like I'm an expert these days.
Oh,
They're
wow.
they're
Okay.
doing they've done thousands of projects, thousands that are just 100,000 times bigger and better than anything we ever thought of doing. They
Oh, I
just
know
they
some of
just
them.
pointed a
Yeah.
laser at the moon and got within some incredibly accurate distance of where they wanted it to point from
Yeah.
Earth, from Earth,
Yeah.
from Earth.
Well, they did. You ever look up this thing? I'll send it to you if I remember. Where they eco restored a plot of land the size of New Delaware, of
Yeah,
Delaware,
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. No,
the
there.
Lost Plateau, and they have become the best eco restoration people in the world.
Yep.
They,
There.
and then they did that AI system they came out with. That cost what, like $6 billion to develop.
Right.
It would cost $6 billion, because of all the grift in this
Right.
country.
Right. Exactly.
To,
No,
to
I read about that, and they built a bridge that's 150 miles long.
Okay, I didn't read that, but no, they do
Yeah, they
whatever they
do it. They do
want.
incredible stuff, and so I don't know. I just think we're going to be in a very different world, so it's okay.
Yeah,
You know.
we yeah. I mean, Trump's trying to realign along his vision, but we haven't been. It hasn't been an American hegemony for a couple decades at least. Now,
Yeah, but it is almost fun for me that a man who came out and said, "I'm going to make America great again," is the one who put the final nail in the coffin of America becoming a
that
piece
is
of
ironic.
shit for probably the next 40 or 50 years anyway.
Yeah, it's really
Just
ironic.
guaranteed that we were going to be, yeah. Anyway, well, bro,
Yeah.
I care about, I do want to tell you one thing, whether we keep talking or not, because I have this weird honesty thing. When you called me just now, meaning, I
An
had
hour
my,
ago.
I had my, uh, what do you call it? My Zoom recording thing on because I do a show called Boring Office where I sit here and just talk about what I'm doing for the day.
Uh,
And so, unknown to you, we have actually been recording this whole thing.
okay.
And I don't know. I love, you're my friend. When I'm here late at night, I like to go back and look at videos that you or I have done, or people I care about have done, and just imagine that that person still gives a fuck about me or whatever, you know. So, so that's happening, just so you know, on record.
Okay.
And I love you dearly. We had so much fun the other night. I will never
Oh
forget
yeah.
that.
Well, we have fun today.
It was so
So,
healing to
so
laugh like that, man.
it is, and I had a laugh like that a long time ago.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's a person who doesn't really like stuff. Isn't really funny to her. I mean, she laughs at things, but not
yeah.
zany, crazy. Just it's
No,
like
no.
laughing through your tears in your eyes, kind of stuff. That's so fun.
Yeah, and
You
it's
just forget everything. You know?
well, you know, there's a guy. There used to be a guy named Norman Cousins
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
centuries ago, and I learned from the story of his life that you know, look at some comedy each day. You
Yeah.
know, watch some comedy, listen to some comedy. So I've made a habit of watching a lot of stand-up comedy, and it does help me. It helps me
Sure.
see what's funny. It helps me laugh. It helps me see the world in a different way. And some of these comedians are just the topics they come at whatever strange angle they come at them with, are just hilarious, you know?
Yeah.
So that helps me a lot with just trying to get through the day.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, my limiter here, bro, it's getting cold
all
out, and I
right.
can't
Yeah.
go
Well, just
inside and
no,
talk.
just take
So,
care and I'll talk to you soon. And thanks for calling. I leave the phone off so much. It's surprising. You're the only person who's gotten through to me in the last 3 or 4 weeks. So
oh, well,
you're
super.
doing, you're doing something right. I don't know what.
It's been totally delightful. Hey, love
Oh,
you. Okay.
all right. Love you. Take care.
Okay.
All right. Bye
Bye.
bye. All right, folks, you heard that happen. So I'm going to turn this one off and then, let's see. Let me put my